October's budget was a reminder of why I budget in the first place. Not to restrict myself, but to create more peace for my family. So let's walk through our October recap. What went right, what went wrong, and what we're focusing on next. If you remember from the September budget video, which we'll link above, October was a crazy month full of birthdays, as well as my wife and I's anniversary, so we had to allocate some extra money towards those and reduce other categories of our budget to save up towards the backdoor Roth IRA contribution. I personally haven't gone through the budget in a few weeks, so I could show just how easy it is to go through Monarch Money to wrap up 1 month and prepare for the following. You'll also want to subscribe to the channel to follow along with the $100 per day savings challenge that we're starting. So let's jump into Monarch Money and get started. Okay, so whenever you go through a budget, you start at the top, what you made. So we'll start with income. So it looks like for paychecks, we were budgeting around $8,000 to come in. We actually came in a little high with some change. So we'll go ahead and try to equal this out. So what I like to do is do what's called a zero-based budget. I want to go through each category, kind of audit it. What worked? What did we plan for that maybe went over and what went under, including income. So next one, interest. We made a little bit of interest. Business income. Usually for this, if you haven't seen in other videos, we usually take a percentage of all the revenue and just make it a constant above. If you have variable income, if you're a business owner, if you're in sales, you'll have high months, you'll have low months. If you want some stability, I recommend moving a set amount of money from business accounts into your personal so you still feel satisfied about earning from all your hard work, but also have, some stability where it's the same number that you can plan on. The business can fluctuate, but we know that a certain amount of money is coming over to the personal side each month. So for us, a percentage just works because that'll increase next year anyway. So right now, $4,307. That's why you see the weird number. So for other income, this is usually for things like selling things on Facebook Marketplace, for instance. That's what we did. We originally listed a few things on Facebook and then ended up going through the garage, going through storage, found a whole bunch of stuff we didn't need. So we ended up actually selling quite a bit. So we allocated $400 originally for the budget column. We ended up selling over $2,200. So we don't need to apply this every month because I don't plan on selling everything. So we're going to uncheck that box where we apply it to every month. And then you'll see this top right corner. Now we have so much more room left in the budget. So as we go down, you'll see we went over on a few categories. So the first and foremost, I like to start with the biggest expense, which for us is usually housing. So mortgage came out like it always does, of course, $2,142. That zeroed out nicely. Home insurance. This is one where we try to save. So because we're in a spot where we can do the one lump sum, if you find a good broker or any agent that you really like using, if you ask them what their price would be if you paid in one lump sum, they can usually offer some sort of discount, and it's usually like 10, 15%. So we like to take any savings we can, so we pay in one lump sum. I just don't like all that $3,000 for the year hitting all at once. So we allocate this $300 every month. That way we know it's coming. So when next year it comes, it's due, we already know it's allocated. So we allocated $300. You'll see it's building over in this rollover. So you see rollover from last month was $696. We budget an extra $300 and it climbed. Even if we wanted to say even that out, we could do $304 because we have the extra, and now it's an even $1,000. Home improvement, we allocated $100 to the budget. We spent $154. This was just to shut off the irrigation lines before we go into winter. So didn't remember that at all. So that one completely skipped my mind. We ended up having to pay for it. So it's $154 more than the 100 budgeted, but with the rollover from last month, we're still positive. Okay, so pest control, last month we didn't have to. They usually charge us every 2 months. So last month they didn't come, this month they will, and then it'll take it out. But we want to allocate those funds because that way it doesn't sneak up on us. Lawn care, we ended up just mowing it ourselves just because it was too easy. With the cooler weather, it's not growing as fast. So that's a easy push mow. We got it done. Auto insurance, allocated $150. Yet again, this is another category that we do annually to try to get as much savings as possible. And that's where you'll see all in this rollover. 150 rolled over from last month, and this month is now 300. Auto maintenance, we like to allocate because tires are expensive. The last time we ended up having to change tires, it was over $1,700 on one vehicle. So we allocate $150 each month to all future months. As you can see here where it says September, we ended up spending over $1,851 out of this fund. And that was because just it so happened that my car decided to throw some codes. We had to take it in, and it was $1,800. So here you'll see Tesla electricity. I do drive a Tesla. We charge at home to try to save as much money as possible. I think this was just for a short trip. We ended up charging over the road. It was $9. Car wash, we did not end up washing the car this month. We'll do that here in about a week or two. So we're going to take that $30, and you can see that I added back to the left of budget column here. Vehicle registration, yet again, another one of those categories that just shows up annually, but we don't want to just all of a sudden be out $700 in the middle of July. So we allocated another $60 per month to this fund where it's going to slowly grow. Bills and utilities. Okay, so now we see our first red line here. Gas and electric came in under with cooler weather. We didn't use as much electricity with the air conditioning running. So that we end up having a savings. And then this water bill. Water came in a little higher, so we can allocate because we have the additional funds in the top right corner. We'll zero this out. So now you see zero. Phone bill is $87, just like it always is. And then we ended up cutting one subscription we didn't need. So it saved another $9. So paid for the Tesla electricity. Oops. So we'll put that 91. Okay. And the reason why you see some red zeros and green zeros here is just because as of this moment, Monarch Money doesn't take into account pennies and cents. So it just rounds everything to the nearest dollar. So if this was say 87.26 and it was, allocated $87 in the budget, it came in tiny high. It's $0, but it's red. Not enough to make a big difference. So I'm not too worried about it. Gifts, if you remember from the September budget, full of birthdays and my wife's anniversary. So we allocated $1,000. We didn't actually end up spending all that much. So I can drop this down to the $841 that was actually spent. Groceries, we actually chose to eat out more just with the stuff that we had going on. We were pretty busy. So we ended up eating out at restaurants and fast food. So we can lower this budget to the 517 and that zeroes this out. And then we allocate more. Whoops, there's the difference. 517 and it zeroes that budget out here. Okay, so that's restaurants. So for fast food, the difference for food for us is restaurants is any place we actually go to and sit down, whereas fast food is anything that gets delivered or it's a drive-through. So even if it's Olive Garden where you can't sit down, if we order to the house, to me, that's fast food. So here we ended up not going out as much and not ordering as much, so we were way under budget. So we can do $106 here, zeroes out that budget. Okay, for this travel and vacation fund, we allocated $800 to the budget. We didn't go anywhere, we didn't spend anything, but it's just here in the rollover accumulating. We do have a trip coming up this winter, so I just want to make sure that we have enough so that we can enjoy guilt-free and not worry about running out anytime soon. Personal fund as $100. If you know me, I don't spend anything on myself. I usually just allocate it so it's there, so I don't feel guilty about it, and we usually end up zeroing it out. So we'll go ahead and do that. When you see this negative 104, but you don't see a category, that usually means that it's hidden in one of these drop downs. So under entertainment recreation, we see that we spent 104, but we didn't allocate for it. So this could be, say, that personal fund. What this ended up being was we went to the pumpkin patch. Something I should have known that was coming up in October. Didn't, completely missed my mind, and we ended up spending it, which is fine. Take it out of the personal and allocate it towards fun with my wife and kids. So we'll allocate the funds there. And now you can see, now that we've allocated the budget, it shows up on the normal category. So it makes it really easy. One reason why I really enjoy Monarch Money. Shopping, yet again, this is one of those categories I do not spend. I always allocate something similar, like $50, $100. And this is the one time a year I literally walk through the soles of my shoes because I'll wear them as long as possible. And this is the one time a year I need to buy new pairs for the whole year. So we ended up going to the outlet store and bought a couple pairs. So I ended up spending it a little bit more than the fund, but that's okay. Yeah, so it equals out. Children's lunch money, we ended up just refilling their accounts at school. Medicals, we allocated $1,000. We ended up spending over $1,700, but because of the fund and this rollover, we had enough. I wasn't too worried about it. I know we're in the positive. So this was something that we had already allocated and planned for, and I'm okay with that. I might increase maybe this budget amount with some of the extra in the budget for last month, just to know, saying, okay, hey, we can roll over a little bit more. And that way it zeroes out the entire budget. Haircuts, we went a little over with getting the kids' haircut. Dental insurance, the same. Yet again, it's red just because of the pennies. Insurance came out as always. Taxes, we ended up owing $113 in taxes. Perfect. That's okay. I try to maximize all my deductions. And then there's this $1,205 that we didn't foresee coming. And that was actually some legal fees we wanted worked up for some estate planning. So we went ahead and paid for that on the credit card and paid off the credit card. So we're able to access some of those points. So now that that's allocated, you still see we have plenty left in the budget up here. So we can collapse these, make it nice and neat. And then we come down to the goals. So you'll see in the previous month of September, we allocated $3,233 towards saving rather than retirement because we were saving it until October. The reason for that is what's called a backdoor Roth IRA contribution. A Roth IRA has an income limit. You can only make so much. Once you go over that, there's like little tricks and ways that you can be able to still allocate funds to a Roth retirement account, like a Roth IRA. That's called a backdoor Roth IRA contribution. So for this, we did the excess, which is $7,000 is what we can allocate per year, minus the savings from last month. And this is what we had left over, which we allocated towards retirement now. So that way we know if we wanted to, we can go back here and saying, well, since we are putting it in retirement with this $10 that we put in, we can do 2, 3, 2, 4, 3 and zero this one out. And now we know that all those were allocated towards the retirement accounts. So we can drop that. So with these $1,633 left in the budget, one thing I like to do is I go back and look at what are some categories where I might need it going into November, going into December, into rollover funds. One thing that always seems to catch up is if you go to this housing category, I always recommend having like a home maintenance or home improvement category, because this one is where the furnace goes out going into winter, your air conditioner goes out in the spring when you're heading into summer and things are getting crazy, and it's the perfect time to get 80 degrees in the house. I want this fund to at least have a couple $100s in there. So because we have so much, we can allocate, say, $500 to help build that rollover, just to give a buffer in case something were to happen. Let's see, we go to pest control, that's the same, it's an easy one. Auto maintenance, just because something may occur, I might bring this up to $200 just to add a little bit of money there. I like these are going well. Gas, electricity, gifts. You could go here to this gear and create a rollover fund. What this allocates is everything that you've spent from this point forward can now be rolled over. So this $841 here will zero out. Now, anything we allocate towards this budget going into, say, Black Friday shopping, if we want to allocate and roll over those funds, we can do that here and it'll start moving forward. So I love Monarch Money because it allows you to do that. You can also backdate it where you're saying, man, I didn't make those contributions. I didn't put that money in and from checking over to savings like I said I was going to back in August. You can go back to August, create a rollover fund for this gifts, planning for Black Friday in November, and start reallocating all the extra funds from the previous months, and it saves up. So something I really just love it. All the creativity, the way you can do it. I really enjoy Monarch Money. So we still have $1,183 we could allocate. Medical, I don't foresee anything super expensive coming up, but we can go ahead and allocate another $200 here, and you'll see the rollover increase. Haircuts, don't plan on getting more haircuts than I already do. Financial legal fees, don't plan on needing any additional. God knows there'll be another bill in the mail. Taxes, those are paid for the year. So now that we have this, and there's not really another category where I could throw it or add to that I'm super worried about, I'm actually going to add this in to retirement. So one thing we could do here, make it super easy. Easy 4,000. Now we know exactly what number we need in the top right-hand corner. So we do 4,750. Obviously, we can't throw this all into the Roth IRA. We can throw the same amount into the Roth IRA and then use the additional funds into like a brokerage account or something extra. Or if you have a 401k, you can throw them in there as well. And that zeroed out everything. So that is October. Now we know where all the funds are allocated. Everything should be paid. Now that October's over, we know exactly what we need to maybe move over to our retirement accounts or do that Roth IRA contribution. So let's go to November to see what we plan for next month. So now that we're already a few days into November, you can start to see some of these already categorized. So paychecks, we could see a paycheck already hit. Interest from the high yield savings account is starting to accrue. Business income is the same, percentage of annual revenue. Other income, I've allocated this $400 in case we find other things that we want to sell on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. So that way it's there as a placeholder. Mortgage has already came out from the first of the month. Home insurance, same. Home improvement, still at $100. Pest control, we know that's going to hit. So you see this $134. That's usually the bi-monthly cost. So whenever they come, it charges and that zeroes out, and then we go into the next month. That's why I really like rollover funds. Lawn care, I know I'll actually have to pay this because I think we'll have one more for this season before winter comes. Auto insurance, same thing, $150 allocated as this rollover fund increases. Auto maintenance, same. Car wash. I will get my car wash this month, so that way we know that going into winter that it's all good as we prep for all the calcium and stuff, because it does snow where I'm at. Vehicle registration, same. Rollover fund, we were saving up towards that. I raised this gas and electric bill back up from say the $108 that we had in October, just because with it being colder, I know we'll use more gas. So I don't want that to sneak up on me. So I wanted to allocate more here. Being that it was a little higher for water last month, same thing. I want to keep this a little high. Phone bill, we know it'll be like 87 something. So I allocated 90, easy. Subscriptions are already starting to trickle in. So we have $18, should be 90, 91. I just want to be safe, allocate $100 here. We can always save it at the end of the month. Gifts, because we have left a budget and I know that we're going to try to cut back on a lot of other spending, I'm actually going to allocate, let's say $1,000 here for now, because I want to plan some Black Friday shopping going into Christmas gifts. So we'll allocate here. Groceries, $750. We've already bought groceries already this month. Way to start the month. Restaurants, we'll allocate $300. We may have to increase this. Fast food, $240. Travel, we'll allocate another $800. We could see that something else already hit for $7. Looks like entertainment and recreation. So we'll add that $7. Zero it out. Collapse these. We know those will pop up later. Shopping. I guess we could, this is probably for the Black Friday shopping, so we could take away, knock this back down to say 100. And that increases our left to budget for going forward, planning for November. Children's lunch money, I left this at 100. I'll probably have to throw more in there. Seems like they're always asking. Medical, we still have 1,000 here. We can probably actually start trimming this down. But yeah, we just want to leave it at 1,000 for now as a placeholder. Haircuts, still 150 is about what we spend for me and my kids. Dental insurance, same. Insurance costs already came out first of the month. And so we've allocated $3,000 towards savings. If you have not already, I highly recommend subscribing and following, because we are doing a $100 per day savings challenge. I'm planning on buying my wife a new car this spring, and I want to be aggressive with it. I'm cutting all excess spending. As you can see, we're selling stuff on Facebook, and a lot of those extra funds are going towards this challenge. So I allocated $3,000 here. If we have any left over, we've done the Roth IRA contribution. And if I have maybe additional funds that I want to buy in the brokerage account, then I might put it towards retirement, but most likely I'm going to stack it for some of it for this savings. So we might even increase this amount, but at least we have it 3,000 allocated, and we know we're still positive for the month. I won't zero it out just yet. Not all the transactions have come in. I want to leave a buffer, but this is how we kind of plan for the future going into November and possibly into December. So now I know that there should be enough funds that shouldn't sneak up on us, and that way we are sitting well planning into November. Okay, if you thought this looked super easy and want to use it yourself, I'll leave a link down in the description below for you where you can save 50% on your first year of Monarch Money. I highly recommend it. It is so easy and intuitive, connects right to your bank accounts, and as you spend, it pulls it in, whether that's on the credit card or not. So highly recommend. Now, the one thing I want to emphasize is that budgeting doesn't have to feel restricting. You saw that. So if you want help mapping out your own budget, that's exactly what I help my coaching clients do. We find the extra money and use it to build wealth, whether it's personal or business. So I'll leave a link down in the description below to book a free call with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.